punishing Patterson for 12 long rounds before the referee finally stopped it. But now, in 1972, the dynamics had shifted. Ali was no longer the young revolutionary fighting against the system. He was part of boxing's establishment. Patterson, the once quiet and humble fighter, became the sentimental favorite. Fans respected his courage to face Ali again despite his age and injuries. The rematch carried the air of poetic closure for both men. Fight night, September 20th, 1972. The Garden roars. When the two men stepped into the ring that night, the contrast was striking. Ali looked sleek, gray. The second bout was not as explosive as the first, but it was intensely tactical. Ali used his jab masterfully, moving just enough to stay out of Frazier's range while landing crisp punches. Frazier kept charging forward, bobbing and weaving, throwing his trademark left hooks to the body. The two exchanged punishment in fierce close-range battles, but Ali's superior reach and accuracy earned him the edge. After 12 grueling rounds, Ali won by unanimous decision. He had finally avenged his loss. The victory restored his confidence and re-established him as the top contender for the heavyweight crown. The stage was now set for the biggest challenge of his life, George Foreman. The Rumble in the Jungle, How Muhammad Ali Outsmarted the Strongest Man Alive, 1974. It was October 30th, 1974, in Kinshasa, Zaire, now the Democratic Republic of the Congo, and the world stood still. Under the heavy African night sky, two men prepared to fight not just for a world title, but for immortality. On one side stood George Foreman, the undefeated, terrifying heavyweight champion, young, powerful, and seemingly invincible. On the other side, Muhammad Ali, the man who once called himself the greatest, now older, slower, and doubted by almost everyone. The fight was promoted as the Rumble in the Jungle, and it would become one of the most extraordinary sporting events in human history. It wasn't just a boxing match. It was poetry, strategy, courage, and faith colliding under the blazing lights of a faraway land. The setup, a clash of power and intelligence. George Foreman's reputation in 1974 was nothing short of terrifying. He had knocked out Joe Frazier in 2 rounds and destroyed Ken Norton in the second, 2 men who had beaten Ali. Foreman's record stood at 40 wins, 37 by knockout. He was a wrecking machine, standing 6'3", weighing 220 pounds of pure muscle. Every punch he threw was thunder. Ali, meanwhile, was 32 years old and no longer the dancing, lightning-fast fighter of the 1960s. The years of exile and brutal fights had slowed him down. Critics said he was finished, but Ali believed otherwise. He had something Foreman didn't: wisdom, experience, and a plan that would defy the logic of boxing itself. In the weeks leading up to the fight, Ali trained in the humid jungles of Zaire, where the temperature often exceeded 90 degrees, 32 C. The people of Zaire embraced him like a hero, chanting, Ali Bomaye, Ali Bomaye, Ali kill him! To the local fans, Ali wasn't just an athlete. He was a symbol of black pride, defiance, and spiritual strength. He represented something bigger than boxing, and Ali, ever the master of psychology, used this energy to his advantage. He entered Foreman's mind long before the first punch was thrown. The strategy. Rope-a-dope. Ali's plan was one of the most brilliant strategies in sports history, the now legendary rope-a-dope. He knew that he couldn't dance for 15 rounds against a younger, stronger man like Foreman. Instead, he decided to let Foreman attack, to let the monster exhaust himself. During training, Ali told his team, "You think I'm gonna dance? I'm gonna lie on the ropes and let him punch himself out. He'll get tired, then I'll take him out." It sounded insane. No one believed it could work. Foreman's punches could crush ribs and break arms. But Ali's genius wasn't in strength. It was in his mind. Round 1, the storm begins. The bell rang. The crowd roared. The jungle came alive. Foreman came out like a predator, swinging heavy bombs to the body and head. Ali danced early, flicking his jab and snapping quick right hands. But by the end of the first round, Ali began to do the unthinkable. He leaned back against the ropes, covering up, letting Foreman pound away. Every time Foreman launched a barrage, Ali whispered in his ear, "That all you got, George?" You punch like a sissy. They told me you could hit. Foreman's punches landed hard, but Ali rolled with them, letting the ropes absorb the impact. The more Foreman attacked, the more energy he wasted. Ali would occasionally explode off the ropes with quick combinations to the face, reminding everyone, especially Foreman, that he was still dangerous. Rounds 2 to 6, the trap tightens as the rounds went on. Ali continued to use the ropes as his shield and Foreman's power as his weapon against him. Foreman kept throwing wild, looping punches that missed or landed harmlessly on Ali's arms. Sweat poured down his face. His breathing grew heavier. Ali, meanwhile, stayed calm, talking, taunting, surviving. He whispered insults, jokes, and riddles between blows. It was psychological warfare. By the 5th round, Foreman's punches had lost their snap. His face began to swell. His power was fading. Ali had been hit, but he had never been hurt. The impossible plan was working. Round 7, the moment of truth. The crowd's chants grew louder. Ali Bomaye, Ali Bomaye. Ali could feel the rhythm of the fight shifting. Foreman was exhausted, his arms heavy, his punches slower. Ali knew it was time. He leaned off the ropes and with lightning precision unleashed a combination. Left, right, left, right. Foreman staggered. Then came the final right hand, a short, snapping punch to the jaw. Foreman fell whining flat on his back, as if struck by lightning. The giant who had destroyed everyone before him lay helpless on the canvas. The referee counted 5, 6, 7. Foreman tried to rise but couldn't. Muhammad Ali had done the impossible. He knocked out George Foreman in the 8th round to reclaim the heavyweight championship of the world. Aftermath: the greatest returns to the throne. As the referee waved off the fight, Ali raised his arms to the sky. The crowd erupted in joy, their chants echoing through the warm African night. Ali had done more than win a boxing match. He had defied the laws of physics, logic, and expectation. I told you all, I'm the greatest. I'm the double greatest. I shook up the world. For George Foreman, it was a shocking defeat that would take years to recover from. For Ali, it was the ultimate redemption. The culmination of a journey that began when his title was unjustly taken from him. He had lost everything. His belt, his prime years, his reputation, and yet, through faith, intelligence, and indomitable will, he had risen again. The rumble in the jungle was not just a fight. It was a metaphor for resilience, belief, and human spirit. The Thrilla in Manila, when legends burned themselves into eternity, 1975. It was October 1st, 1975, in Manila, the Philippines. The air was thick with heat, sweat, and history. 2 men, Muhammad Ali and Joe Frazier, stepped into the ring for the 3rd and final time, their rivalry having grown into one of the most brutal and personal sagas in sports history. This was not just a fight. It was war. It was billed as the Thrilla in Manila, and when the bell rang, it became the most punishing and emotionally charged battle the boxing world had ever witnessed. The story so far: a rivalry carved in fire. Their rivalry had begun years earlier, born not merely from competition but from clashing souls. Joe Frazier, humble, proud, and unpretentious, saw boxing as his way out of poverty. Muhammad Ali, loud, brilliant, and defiant, saw boxing as his stage, a platform to speak to the world. Their first fight in 1971, the fight of the century, had been epic. Ali, returning from exile, lost for the first time in his career as Frazier floored him in the 15th round and won by unanimous decision. Their second meeting in 1974 saw Ali even the score, outboxing Frazier in a heated 12-round decision. But this third fight, this was different. This was personal. Ali had mocked Frazier for years, calling him an Uncle Tom, a gorilla, and a tool of the white man. The insults cut deep. To Frazier, who had grown up in grinding poverty and helped Ali financially during his exile, the words were unforgivable. By the time Muhammad Ali passed away at the age of 74, surrounded by his family, the world mourned not just a sportsman, but a man who had changed what it meant to be human. Jews and people of all faiths stood side by side to honor a man who had fought not only in the